biggest neo-colonialist leaders on the African continent, William Ruto.
Mm.
And it seems like we're always discussing the negative things that Ruto is responsible for in the African continent, but he has completely opened up Kenya to be pretty much a doormat, um, for anybody that's willing to cut him a check, not just for the United States, but for the EU, for anybody who's willing to give his country or give himself, I should say, money and more power.
Mm. Yes, indeed. So what we wanted to do was try to put a put together a chronology of things that have happened within the last 3 to 4 weeks regarding Haiti, Kenya, President William Ruto, and Haiti's new transitional prime minister, Gary Conille. Not sure exactly how you pronounce the last name. Conille, I'll just say, for lack of not being able to understand it. And so what I did was I went through and found several articles to try to give people an understanding of how, we have arrived at the place we are regarding the continuing assault on Haiti for having the audacity to liberate themselves by defeating the most powerful European armies in the world, between 1791 and 1804. So this article comes from Haiti Liberty via Bar, the Black Agenda Report, and they established the United States and its neo-colonial agents in the Caribbean, along with Canada. They established what's called the CPT, the Presidential Transitional Council. This was after the a lot of organizations, some criminal, some not criminal, some actually could be considered to be revolutionary, who rose up against the installed leader after Jovenel Moise was assassinated, Ariel Henry. And so they formed this Presidential Transitional Council. And so starting on May 16th, they had a meeting with this Maria Salvador, who is the head of the United Nations Integrated Office in Haiti. And on the agenda was Resolution 2699 of the Security Council, authorizing the deployment of the multinational security support mission in Haiti. Okay, so this is the mission that Dr. Ruto has agreed to be the leader of. There's some other countries involved in it. And I think the only other African country involved in it, to my knowledge, is Benin. The meeting was simply a prelude to preparing the reception of the Kenyan soldiers in order to plan their upcoming arrival. The first group of 50 police officers is already in the country to assess the situation. And on May 20th, this high-level Kenyan delegation, including the commander of the MMSS, arrived in Port-au-Prince, and they were all getting hyped up. They wanted to have the Kenyan troops actually on the ground, not the Kenyan troops, the Kenyan police officers actually on the ground in Haiti when Dr. Ruto began his meetings in Washington with Biden and Blinken and Harris and that whole crew, including the Congressional Black Caucus and all the people he met with while he was here. So the first 50 officers were supposed to be followed by 200 officers, and General Laura Richardson confirmed the deployment of the police, and so they were expecting them there on May 23rd, which is the day that Ruto and Biden were meeting. So this was going to be a big announcement that they were planning to make. Okay, you can go on down a little bit, brother. Let's see what else we got here. So it says that the Haitian people must take note. It is clear that it is the United States which is responsible for all the logistical and financial operations of this quote unquote non-military force. And the deputy spokesman for the Kenyan government, uh, Chizuga, said we have been called to restore peace in Haiti, and it is not free. Kenya will receive money from the operation which we use to develop our country. So once again, here you see what this is really all about. His brother Amos was just talking about money in a different context. Once again, here we are talking about money. Here, this to show you how upside down the world is. Everybody in the world should be coming to Africa asking for money, right? But instead, because of chattel slavery, colonialism, neo-colonialism, imperialism, just the mass rape of the African continent, not just our sisters, our mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, but the rape of the land itself has enriched these people, and now countries have to go around begging or willing to sell their souls, make a deal with the devil in order to get some money. So there's the link to Black Agenda Report, and now we'll put that somewhere in the comments. I included this piece by Willie Matunga, and he was the former Chief Justice and President of the Kenyan Supreme Court from 2011 to 2016. This is a brother that everybody should be, when you start checking for news about Kenya, news on the African continent, this brother produces articles. He most often writes in the Star, on the Star website or the Star newspaper in Kenya. And so on May 17th, before Ruto arrived in DC, he wrote an article in the Star that said, our future survival as a nation depends on what foreign policy decisions are made by our government. Now, this is obviously a very astute brother, and you can't say that he doesn't know what he's talking about in terms of the Kenyan Constitution. He said, it is not idle gossip. This is what Amos and I were just talking about. It is not idle gossip that World War III may be on the horizon. I'm not an expert on military matters, but I am a keen student of history. Okay, so we fall into that same category, Brother Matunga. I have argued in 3 articles published by the Star that the foreign policy decisions our government has made on Haiti, Palestine, and the trade pacts with the U.S. and the EU in the recent past subvert the 2010 Constitution. Now, you can't say this man isn't a Kenyan constitutional expert. Okay, he was the top judicial official in this country. And he's saying what Ruto is doing is violating the Constitution. But once again, they go around calling these countries democracies. Oh, the Kenyan democracy, the Ghanaian democracy, the Israeli democracy, the U.S. democracy. And then when you get down and when you start cracking the nut open, what do you find? You find sugar on poison. It seems to me that our motherland is being drafted as a junior partner for U.S. interests in Africa, in Palestine, in relation to the possible ongoing cyber war against China. Are these not matters of our survival that we should participate in? He studied history. He knows what happens. When you hitch your wagon to the devil, you expect to get dragged through hell. And that's what Ruto is doing to the Kenyan people. So keep this brother's name, we'll put a link there, but you need to, this is a brother you really need to start, checking out, you see, because of the information that he's producing. So moving on to the time frame of May 22nd and May 23rd, Ruto arrived in DC, and they made numerous, deals and signed all kinds of agreements between, the United States and Kenya. And so I described it as Kenya's paycheck for its Faustian deal with the U.S. Now, Brother Amos, you can stop me anytime you want to say anything, okay? I mean, if you want to comment on something that's being said here. Um, so have highlighted some of the key points. I don't want to go through all of this because a lot of it is already public knowledge. But I think this is, of all the things that was done, I think this is probably the most significant because of the geopolitics in this world, where Russia and China are rising to challenge what's now the unipolar world dominated by the United States, and it drags Germany, France, and the United Kingdom along just like lapdogs, and a lot of the other countries in Europe and other countries in the world. For as a matter of fact, Biden will designate Kenya as a major non-NATO ally, making it the first sub-Saharan African country to receive this designation. It should be an embarrassment to want to be part of, of, of this organization, but obviously that's not the case. So in terms of the dollars they dealt out, it was $7 million to help modernize Kenya's National Police Service. So this is what the lady was talking about, or the representative was talking about earlier up there, where she said, "We getting paid. We getting paid." Okay, so I mean, just like Luca Brasi, Don Corleone said, "Go take out that band leader." Okay, I'm getting paid. Ethics has nothing to do with it. Morality has nothing to do with it. There's $21 billion from the International Monetary Fund's Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust. Microsoft is partnering with the UAE to invest $1 billion in a data center in Kenya. I mean, look at the money that's flowing in. All you do is just sign on the dotted line. I'm willing to be a slave.
See, one of the things you have to look at when you talk about the IMF, look at the key words. Will make soon available lending of up to $21 billion. They're not gifting this money to them.
Right.
So there's going to be high interest rates that they'll never be able to pay
Never.
money back.
Never.
And anyway, it's going to be economic slavery. That's how the IMF operates.
Yeah, that's what Sankara said about debt. By debt, it was the new form of slavery, and we shouldn't pay it back. uh, Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I mean, Ruto is all of this stuff that he's doing is bad. But when you look at some of the things internally that he's doing in Kenya, it's even worse, far worse than this. It's the things that he's done to really open up the country to um, not just uh, economic catastrophes that many of the Kenyan citizens feel on an everyday basis, but biochemical catastrophes.
Mm.
Ruto has made it extremely easy for more mRNA research centers and production centers to be built right there in Kenya, sponsored and ran by Moderna.
Mm.
And we know right now Fauci is on trial, not in a sense on trial, but he's being questioned right now for some of the idiotic decisions that he made during the pandemic.
Mm.
So Ruto was demonstrated that he has no alliance to not only to the best interests of the Kenyan people, but he really has no alliance to the continent of Africa. Because when you look at what's happening in Gaza right now, also when you look at what's happening in Gaza, and then when you look at um, other African countries who have stepped up to not just fight against Israel, but sever their relationships. Here you have Ruto, who's coming to a country who's directly supporting the genocide.
Mm.
So what it tells me is that if the U.S. was sending bombs to, let's say, if the U.S. was sending bombs to Sudan to bomb Somalia, Ruto would still do business with the United States.
Yeah.
These
Biden just,
guys have no moral compass, and they have no sense of uh, African nationalism or any type of African alliance, real African alliance that would prohibit them from doing these backdoor deals that ultimately enrich themselves and keep their country in poverty.
mm, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, move on down through there, brother. Let's see what else we got here. I think I got the next one is it's actually something you were talking about. Okay, we got a $60 million grant for a 4-year program focusing on transportation. And I think this may be what you were talking about, part of it anyway. Kenya and the United States announced that the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and Kenya's government will share information identifying best practices and defining steps toward development of full launch of the Kenyan National Public Health Institute. That may be what you were referring to. And finally, $3.3 million for 60 Kenya undergraduates to study for a semester in the United States. I mean, so this is all part of the payoff. Now, once you accept the money, then you got to start performing duties. And so the very next week after uh, Biden made this announcement about Kenya being a non-NATO ally, so this headline, I think this was in the Star also, I can't remember now. I may have the link in there. U.S. European Union picked Kenya to join the fight against the Houthi rebels. And so what this piece is talking about is, obviously we know that the Houthis rose up to do what they could to help the Palestinians. The Palestinians have a saying that we were stabbed twice, once in the front by the Zionists and once in the back by the Arabs. And obviously they're referring to the Arab states that just have rolled over and played dead. Particularly, since Nasser and Sadat and Hafez Assad and Saddam Hussein, moved on to the spiritual world. But basically, I think what they're saying here is they want them to imprison the people that the Houthis that they would be arresting, Houthis and anyone else. I guess they're trying to put it under the cover of pirates and whatnot. Seychelles has played a key role in handling suspects arrested in the waters, and now Kenya will be another country which the EU has entered a legal agreement with to allow the trial of suspected pirates arrested by warships. So they would be calling these Houthis, who are actually engaged in, well, I guess you could call it asymmetric warfare in defense of the Palestinian people. They're gonna arrest them and they'll be put on trial in Kenya. I mean, do you understand what you're opening your country up to when you do something like this? I mean, did they not learn from their mission in Somalia, which led to the bombing of a mall and what was the other facility in Nairobi, killing Kenyan people being killed because of the misadventures of their leaders. Okay, but now we did get some good news regarding the deployment on May 24th. As the Kenyan police officers were due to arrive in Haiti, it was delayed because there was another effort in the courts to stop the mission. The arrival of the Kenyan contingent as part of the MMSS had been timed to coincide with the visit of Ruto in D.C. Gone down. on May 17th, Ikuru Okot, leader of Kenya's Third Way Alliance political party and a former Kenyan presidential candidate and opponent of Ruto, initiated a last-minute challenge in Kenya's High Court to the anticipated flyout of the officers. And so basically, he went back to the Kenyan High Court, and speaking along, I'm sure along the lines of what Willie Matunga said, you're violating the Constitution. So all of this, glory that Ruto was and Biden were going to get because they were going to announce that the Kenyan troops had landed in Port-au-Prince. This political activist stopped the process in its tracks, and the court has scheduled June 12th as the date for the hearing. So, I mean, this is the same guy that initially stopped it in January, the same person who stopped it in January. And so now they're back in court, and they have stopped it, at least temporarily. Now, for his part, Ruto has said that the court has no authority to stop him. So we'll see if he he's in the process. He's got the promised paycheck, some printed money. So we'll see, exactly what happens. But right now it has been stopped. Okay, and the next event took place on going down, bro, on May 27th. This handpicked transitional presidential council, obviously handpicked by the imperialists and some of their neocolonial puppets, announced on May 27th that it has elected Dr. Gary Conille as the prime minister to lead Haiti during its interim governance, currently slated to end in February 2026. So then people say, well, who is this guy? And so the Haiti Times and other organizations, Attorney Azili Danto and others, produce a lot of information on exactly who this person is. So going down, we're just going to highlight some of the things. First of all, by the mere fact that he was selected, you already have an idea that this is somebody who's going to serve in the interest of the imperialist powers and not in the interest of the Haitian people, because the Haitian people had no say in this process. The Haitian people who democratically elected Jean-Bertrand Aristide twice had no say in this process. And this is what has them upset. Now, obviously, some of these gangs are just, they're just gangsters or whatever. But some of these people are actually activists who are interested in the liberation of Haiti, but they're all grouped together as if they're all, Don Corleone or somebody. And so, but the bottom line is the massive Haitian people have no process. So, we're going now through this guy. We see that he married the stepdaughter of a former Haiti prime minister. His father served in the Papadoc Duvalier government. So you see, this guy, first of all, he's part of the Haiti bourgeoisie, part of the Haiti traditional neocolonial political class. He was a Fulbright scholar at UNC Chapel Hill. He served as the chief of staff to Bill Clinton as the UN Special Envoy for Haiti in the wake of Haiti's 2010 earthquake. So he was the Clinton crime family's man on the ground. That should tell you a lot about him, because we know how much money the Clintons got out of this process. And then he spent most of the rest of his time, other than the fact that he served temporarily as the prime minister, I think under Martelly, but he's been working for the United Nations. And when it comes to Haiti, the United Nations has been simply an arm of the U.S. of the American Empire. Going down until his resignation on May 28th, he was UNICEF's regional director for Latin America and the Caribbean, based in Panama City, Panama. This guy hasn't even been living in Haiti. He hasn't even been living there. Okay, I mean, I was looking through his profile. I think he spent some time. He was working in Burundi at one time for the United Nations. So he was sworn in as Haiti's new prime minister on June the 3rd. And so now they have, quote unquote, the transition government in place. All they have to do is maintain it. And so what this made me think about as a student of history, particularly of African history and neocolonialism, I said America's latest neo-colony, Kenya, is being used somewhat like Ethiopia in Somalia 2006-2007 to provide a black face to prop up a U.S.-approved transitional government. So now this is the article from 2007 that just kind of gives a background that I'm using as a comparison. So on the 26th of December 2006, Ethiopian tanks supported by U.S. AC-130 gunships invaded Somalia in order to install a puppet regime of the transitional federal government. This is the same transitional regime that's supposedly running Somalia right now, by ousting the Union of Islamic Courts. 6 months earlier, on June 2006, the Somali people allowed, now this was a decision by the Somali people, they allowed the UIC to take power to help to end the anarchy that resulted from a 15-year civil war in the battered country. One more paragraph, I think, brother. As a result, the Islamic courts assumed centralized control over many parts of the South, including the capital city of Mogadishu. This move came about partly after it was revealed that the CIA was secretly working with the Somali warlords in Ethiopia to invade Somalia. So basically what happened is this. The Somali people coming after all of this chaos, under, Saeed Barre. I mean, Somalia was just all caught up in the Cold War, was switching back and forth between the Soviet Union and the United States. And the government, it broke down. Everybody in Somalia is Somali, but they have clans, which are almost like virtually like ethnic groups. And so you had this conflict between these clans. And I think a lot of people are familiar with the U.S. aborted mission that resulted in, quote unquote, Black Hawk Down and all of that. Well, finally, that was in the 1990s. Finally, in 2006, this group emerged that the people of Somalia had confidence in, and they actually brought stability and peace to an area of the country. The Bush administration, George Bush, and in particular Condoleezza Rice, decided that, no, you Africans can't live in peace, not under a union of Islamic courts. No. So they hired Ethiopia. The TPLF was running Ethiopia at the time, to launch this invasion. And they overthrew. Once again, the decision of the people was to allow this organization to bring stability and peace to the country so they could get on with development. The United States, the Bush administration wasn't satisfied with that. They hired Ethiopia to go in and overthrow the courts union and install this transitional government. And they were supposed to protect keep the transitional government in place until they could, consolidate their power. But what happened, what they didn't know was, they thought the UIC, which were a group of moderate Islamists, was bad. What rose up to replace them was Al-Shabaab, who quickly declared their allegiance to, I think it was Al-Qaeda at the time. I believe that's who they declared their allegiance to, maybe to the Islamic State, but I can't remember exactly now. But I know they declared their allegiance to one of those organizations, and boom, the country broke right back out into this horrible turmoil. People dying from starvation because of all kinds of ecological factors. Not enough rain, not able to produce food, and Somalia since then has been bombed by every American president, as recently as last week by genocidal Joe Biden, George Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. They have been bombing Somalia. This doesn't get any coverage in the U.S. news whatsoever since 2006, all because the United States government decided that they wanted to replace, just like they replaced Aristide in Haiti, and Haiti's been basically in chaos ever since. They replaced this group that only had been in power for about 6 months. The result is absolute turmoil and chaos, tragedy, violence for the people. So what I saw with Ruto, his decision, I said this is very similar, but they're not going in to overthrow, but they're going in to keep the hand-picked leadership of Haiti that the United States handpicked to keep them in power. They can say they're going in to do whatever. That's what they're going in there for. And to me, that was the analogy, and that's what I wanted to call attention to the African Liberation Media family, brother.
Well, we know that when it comes to these types of leaders that are propped up by U.S. governments and Western governments, we know what it's going to lead to um, for Kenya and surrounding countries, because not only is roots are going to be used to carry out their agenda outside of the African continent, like in Haiti and with the Houthis, they're going to use him to attack Uganda. They're going to use him to attack, um, probably to join forces with Rwanda in the Congo, as we know. Ruto sent troops there, um, and whatever else they want to use him to cause any type of uh, disruption or destabilization in regions on the African continent. They're going to use him potentially to even probably attack Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. So there are a lot of people in Kenya who oppose Ruto, who want him removed from office, and who actively protest in Kenya against his policies and what he's doing in the country and doing around the world. And we have to utilize the information like this and identify brothers like you stated, the brother who wrote in the Star about uh, what's happening that's unconstitutional in the country, utilize this information to continue to push for people like Ruto, corrupt leaders like him, to be disempowered on the African continent.
Absolutely. 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 There was another great interview, and maybe we'll go through it next week or in some future show, that African Stream did an interview with Ann Garrison at Black Agenda Report. He pointed out some really, really interesting things. The African Stream representative did very interesting things, and Azili Danto has some other stuff that I just hadn't been able to cross reference it. But all of this information will become more available as people do more research and publish it. So, but we just wanted to bring that to the attention of the African family, because ultimately neocolonialism is the bane of Africa, and there has to be a mass movement against neocolonialism, same as the type of movements that were organized by Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Patrice Lumumba, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and Modibo Keita and Kenneth Kaunda and others against colonialism. So this is where the struggle is for the African continent, because Judge Matunga makes a lot of valid points there. This is a very dangerous situation, not only for Kenya but for all of Africa, and that's the point he's making. Yeah, check that brother out. That brother's on it.
Brothers and sisters, leave your comments down in the comment section. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel for future content. Click the notification bell so that you'll be updated each and every time we upload a new video. And until next time, I'll be before Hodier.
Be before Hodier.